I've been driving trucks for over 20 years, and I thought I'd seen everything the road could throw at me. But nothing prepared me for that night on the highway. It was late, and I was hauling a load through one of those desolate stretches where the only light for miles comes from your own headlights. The CB radio was mostly quiet, just an occasional crackle to remind me I wasn't the only one out there. I was rounding a bend when I spotted her, a young woman standing on the side of the road, soaked from the rain, her thumb out. Normally, I don't pick up hitchhikers, but something about her made me slow down. Maybe it was the desperation in her eyes, or maybe I just couldn't leave her out there alone. She climbed into the cab, shivering. "Thanks for stopping," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been out here for hours." I handed her a blanket and turned up the heat. "Where you headed?" I asked. "Anywhere but here," she replied, glancing nervously out the window. "There's something out there, something terrible." I felt a chill, despite the warmth in the cab. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then told me about the camping trip with her friends. They'd heard something in the woods, something that wasn't human. Her friends had gone to investigate and never came back. She ran to the road and started hitchhiking, convinced that whatever was out there was hunting them. It sounded like a wild story, but the way she told it, so scared, so certain, made me uneasy. I kept driving, the clock ticking past midnight, both of us lost in our thoughts. Then the CB radio crackled. "Breaker 19, this is Big Red. Any drivers near mile marker 73, be advised there's something weird going on. Just passed a wrecked car, and, well, let's just say it didn't look like a normal accident." I felt my stomach drop. We were nearing mile marker 73. The woman beside me turned even paler. "That's near where I was camping," she whispered. My grip on the wheel tightened. "You sure you saw something out there?" She nodded, eyes wide with fear. It wasn't human. It was big, fast, and had these glowing eyes. As we approached mile marker 73, my headlights caught sight of a mangled car on the side of the road. The front was smashed in, and the doors looked like they'd been ripped off. I slowed down, scanning the area, but there was no sign of life. Suddenly, the woman screamed. "There, in the trees." I slammed on the brakes and saw a hulking figure, at least 7 feet tall, with glowing yellow eyes, just beyond the tree line. It was watching us, those eyes locked onto the truck. My heart pounded, and for a moment, I couldn't move. Then it charged. Fast, faster than anything that size should be. I floored the gas, the tires screeching as we shot forward. The creature slammed into the side of the trailer with a force that nearly threw us off the road. "Go. Go," the woman screamed, and I didn't need to be told twice. I kept my foot on the gas until the creature's glowing eyes faded into the distance behind us. We didn't stop until we reached the next town. She thanked me, more relieved than I'd ever seen anyone, before disappearing into the night. I didn't ask where she was going, I was just glad to be rid of whatever had chased us. I've never driven that stretch of highway at night again, and every time I pass mile marker 73 during the day, I can't help but glance toward the trees, half expecting to see those glowing eyes watching me. I've been hauling freight across the country for years, and one of my favorite routes is through the Midwest wide roads, open skies, nothing but me and the engine humming along. It's a lonely drive, sure, but I've always liked the solitude. That was before the night I came across something on the road I still can't explain. It was one of those foggy evenings where the mist clings to the road, thick as soup, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. I'm used to bad weather, but this fog was something else. It swirled around the truck, closing me in, and the CB radio was dead silent. Not a soul out there, or so I thought. I was just settling into the long stretch ahead when I noticed headlights in my side mirror. It surprised me I hadn't seen another vehicle in hours. The lights grew brighter, and soon I realized it was a convoy of trucks, moving fast, right behind me. Relief washed over me. It's always good to know you're not alone on the road, especially in weather like this. I reached for the CB to make contact. Breaker 19, this is Midnight Rider. Looks like we've got a convoy here. Anyone got their ears on? Nothing but static. I tried again. This is Midnight Rider. Anyone out there? Still no response. I glanced in my mirrors. The trucks were tailing me close, too close, their headlights almost blinding through the fog. Something about the way they moved, all in perfect sync, made my skin crawl. I grabbed the CB again. Come on, someone's got to be listening. Who's in the convoy behind me? That's when I heard it. The voice on the radio, faint and full of static, but clear enough to send a chill down my spine. Turn back. I felt my heart skip a beat. I looked again in the mirror, expecting to see something, anything that made sense, but those trucks just kept following, their lights bright and unyielding. The voice came through the radio again, louder this time. Turn back before it's too late. My hands were shaking on the wheel. Who is this? What's going on? No answer, just static and that damned fog thicker than ever. The headlights behind me seemed to grow brighter, almost like they were closing in. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to get off the road, to get away from whatever was back there. Then I saw an exit sign just up ahead. I didn't think twice. I signaled and took the exit, pulling into a rest stop as fast as I dared. I half expected the convoy to follow, but when I looked in the mirror, they were gone. Just like that, the road behind me was empty, the fog starting to lift. I parked, turned off the engine, and sat there trying to calm my nerves. I reached for the CB one last time. This is Midnight Rider. Anyone know what just happened? There was a long pause, then a gruff voice finally answered. You were lucky, it said. That convoy's been haunting these roads for years. Drivers say they're the ghosts of a trucker gang that crashed in the fog decades ago. They're looking for more to join them. I just sat there, stunned. I'd heard ghost stories from other drivers before, but I never believed them until now. I decided to call it a night right there in that rest stop. The thought of getting back on the road, maybe running into that convoy again, was more than I could handle. I know one thing I'll never forget that night, and I'll never take that stretch of highway in the fog again. I was almost home, just a few more hours to go. It had been a long haul, and I could feel the fatigue setting in. My eyelids were heavy, my back was sore, and I knew I needed to stop for a bit. When I saw the rest stop sign, I didn't think twice. I figured I'd stretch my legs, maybe catch a quick nap before finishing the drive. As I pulled in, I could tell the place had seen better days. The parking lot was cracked, and the single flickering light didn't do much to push back the darkness. The building itself looked ancient, with peeling paint and a sagging roof. But I was too tired to care. I just needed a break. I stepped out of the truck and stretched, the cool night air feeling good after hours behind the wheel. The place was dead quiet, no other vehicles, no sounds except for the wind. Something about it made me uneasy, but I brushed it off. I just needed to use the restroom and get back on the road. The door to the restroom creaked loudly as I pushed it open. Inside it was dim, the light flickering like it might go out any second. The air was stale, musty, and I could feel my unease growing. I splashed some water on my face, trying to shake off the feeling. As I dried my hands, I heard a faint noise behind me. I turned, and there it was, the door to one of the stalls, slowly swinging open. My first thought was the wind, but there was no breeze, no reason for it to move. My heart started pounding in my chest. I stepped back, staring at the stall as it creaked open fully. There was nothing inside, just darkness, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me, waiting. I didn't wait to find out what. I turned and hurried out of the restroom, heading straight back to my truck. As I climbed in, I noticed something strange. The air felt colder, and the windows were fogged up like someone had been breathing on them. That's when I saw it, scrawled in the fog on the passenger side window, "Get out." I froze, staring at those words, my mind racing. Who could have done that? I'd been alone the whole time, hadn't I? I didn't stick around to find out. I started the engine and floored it, tires screeching as I sped out of that rest stop. As I drove, I kept checking the mirrors, half expecting to see something following me, but there was nothing, just the open road and the distant lights of the highway. I didn't stop again until I reached home, my heart still pounding from whatever the hell had happened back there. I told myself it was just my tired mind playing tricks, but deep down I knew better. There was something wrong with that place, something evil. I've taken that route many times since, but I've never stopped at that rest stop again. No matter how tired I am, I keep driving. I don't know what would have happened if I'd stayed, and I don't want to find out.